Okay, I'm back. Got the compression tester. It's just a kit with a few different plug size ends. It's the 12mm for this particular bike. I've already put the adapter on the end of the hose, and then this piece, the gauge, goes in the end of that. I've gone straight for cylinder number 3. Oh, it's a bit dark in here now. Right, it's in cylinder number 3. It's quite awkward to get in, so I've had to take off this little side panel. I should have taken the tank off really, but anyway, let's spin her over and see what she gets. Now, this engine it's about 3 hours later now since I started it, so the engine's pretty much cold. You're supposed to do this with the engine warm, but hey ho, I'm looking for an overall figure as opposed to testing what the compression is when it's hot. And imagine this has never been started for 10 years and we're looking at the compression and we can't do a hot compression test. Anyway, right, I'll go through all the cylinders, but I'm starting with the bad one. The suspect one. In the manual it says between 114 and 178 psi, and with a difference allowable of 28 psi on any given cylinder. So let's see what we get. Okay, so no fuel, the sparks are all rerouted. I've taped in the clutch handle because it won't spin without a clutch in, and I've fully taped open the throttle. So let's go. Obviously this is going to be upside down. Let's see what we get. Once I turn the ignition on, of course. Well, that's good news. Oh, where's the light? 175 psi exactly on a cold engine, and it's supposed to be 178 at peak performance. Right, let's stick this one. That was number 3, the one I suspect. So I'm going to stick it in number 4 and then do 1 and 2. I know I'm doing it in the wrong order, but hey ho. There's another thing as well. I will check the coil. I'll have to do it from what the manual says because I'm not an electronics guy. I'm mechanical, but I'm not electronics. So I will check the coil that does number 1 and 3. I'm also going to check for vacuum leaks when I take the carbs off. So basically, it's going to get a compression test. I'm going to do the valve clearances anyway. I'm going to check the coils, replace if necessary, and I'm going to strip the carbs and do all that sort of stuff. That's the 12mm plug adapter on the end of the machine, and I've put a bit of grease on the thread, and I've done that, put these two together pretty tight because I don't want to leave this behind in the cylinder head. Okay, cylinder number 1, come on, focus. Come on. Right, well, cylinder number 1 has got, sorry, not cylinder number 1, this is cylinder number 4, and it won't focus. Anyway, there is 160 psi. Come on, focus. Anyway, take my word for it, there's 160 psi, which is fine. I'm going to try this again, make sure it's all screwed in tight. Here we go. For some reason the focus was off. Yeah, 160 psi on cylinder number 4 with a cold engine. Let's try 1 and 2. Okay, cylinder number 2. Come on. I think I keep turning off the ignition. Yeah, I turned off the ignition. I was being too careful. Cylinder number 2. Try again. Nearly 160. 158. I'm going to call it 160. This is but a cheap gauge, so we've had 175. Okay, number 4 was 160. Number 3 was 175. Number 2, 160. Let's try number 1. Okay, time for number 1. Without focus. Come on. Focus. Same again, 160. So the suspect cylinder has more compression than the other 3 cylinders. So 160 on 1, 160 on 2, 175 on 3, and 160 on 4. I'm going to do number 3 again, just to see if it's any different now the engine's been spinning over. And bear in mind all these numbers are on a cold engine. Alright, there goes. Number 3 again. As soon as I turn the ignition on, of course. Okay, still slightly more than the others, but it's not 175 anymore, so it's near enough. Right, let's stop. Right, I can't turn the camera around or edit. I'm also filming in 640 by 480 or something. But you get the general idea. Hopefully you can actually see me because I can't see my screen. So, bit inconclusive. Don't know why the first one I did, it went up to 175, 178 and then it levelled out at 160 with all the rest. Might be just because it's the first one I tried and there's more power in the battery when I tried it. Perhaps there's a bit of oil in that cylinder and it's sealing the rings more, but to be honest there was no oil on the plug. I've never had any oil blue smoke out of this exhaust ever. Second time round it read 160 like all the others, and there's, in fact it was slightly higher than all the others, so that's a plus. Bearing in mind the engine's cold and your max is 170, 178 on a hot engine. I think 160 across the board. I'm quite happy with that. There's no discrepancy between cylinders. I'm still going to do the, this is weird not being able to see myself on the monitor of the screen whilst speaking. I might have chopped my head off, who knows. So anyway, that's good news. There's, as far as I can see, none of the valves are loose, too far open, and none of the rings are too worn. but I will do the valve clearances anyway, because I'm halfway in here now. I've got to get some spark plugs to replace these with, and I'm struggling to get any unless I go on a bit of a road trip, which I'm not going to do at the moment with my wobbly head. So I'm going to do the valve clearances anyway. They're probably all within spec, but I'm going to check them. I'll just do it, go through the manual. And I'm going to end up taking the carbs off and stripping those down and cleaning them out and just doing a full rebuild on the carbs. It can't hurt. And each time we'll fire it up and check the temperature of the exhaust pipes and see what difference it makes. And I will also check the coils. I'll figure out how to check the coils with my multimeter and compare the two coils to see if there's anything happening there. I'll check the continuity, the ohmage of each coil lead and cap and all that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, that's good news on the compression. And like I said, the bike's running fine. It's just my OCD nature to want to know why one cylinder is 20 degrees Celsius cooler than the other three, even though it's running fine. So, you know, there you go. Anyway, that's long enough. Peace and love. I'm sorry it was all a bit, the cylinders were in a bit of a scrappy order, but yeah, videoing's difficult at the moment without the editing suite. It's a rubbish thing that I pay pennies for, but it's not working. If I upload in anything more than, if I give it a clip, anything more than 680 by whatever it is, 6 by 480, I can't do it in HD or 4K. It just stops and says, I can't do these files. You need to upgrade to £1 billion a year contract to do it. So that's what I think of that. Anyway, enough of that. More of this. Peace and love. I've been Springy. Thanks for watching. I am going to attempt to edit all of these 4 videos together and make it one video. Used to take about 15 minutes. It might take about 15 hours, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. So peace and love. Thanks for watching. I've been Springy. See you next time.